Okay, good morning. This is our team. We are Luisa, Fernanda Gómez, Kevin González, and Jeison Cadavid. And today we're going to give a little explanation about the breakup between England and the Europe Union, or in other words, the Brexit. To start, what is the Europe Union? It was created in 1951 after the World War II as a result to protect the carbon and steel commerce. It is compounded at first by six different countries: Italy, Germany, Belgium, France, Netherlands, and Luxembourg. They are governed by four freedoms or by four rules or objects, which are the people, the goods, services, and capital. And also to create an organization, a commerce organization, they has its own currency, which is the euro. This currency um, allowed all these countries to trade or commerce with a common money, and also they are ruled by some common laws which uh, protect or control the tourism, the immigration, the commerce, and some others. Nowadays, the Europe Union is compounded by 27 different countries, and they all share different common policies, which we'll explain now.
Well, I'm gonna read to you the policies within the EU. It's divided into the internal and external policies. The internal policies are agricultural policy, food safety, environmental standards. The external policies are enlargement of the EU, aid and humanitarian assistance, trade and external relations with the countries outside the EU, promotion of peace, democracy, and stability beyond the EU's borders.
Okay, next slide, please. So, to give an answer to the questions of the guideline, it's important to understand the British culture history. In the past, Great Britain was dominated for different cultures, such as Romans and Anglo-Saxons. So, one of the facts that affected the decision about Brexit was the migration from the Europe to UK. It creates new trade restrictions between the United Kingdom and the rest of Europe and limits the ability of British citizens to move as freely around the Europe. Next slide, please. So, some causes and consequences. I think the Britons feel overwhelmed because they don't want to have in their country more people from different cultures. For proponents of Brexit, sovereignty was seen as a major reason to leave the European Union. Under European law, it's difficult for the UK allow migrate people.
I'd like to talk about more of the sovereignty and migration things because I think they're the main consequence of the Brexit. And these go far back, way far back. Since the beginning of England, this country had a lot of wars. They were in constant war, and that led to a large ethnic diversity, and them having a mentality uh, of uh, of people that went through a lot and they still standing. In the Second World War, there there happened a big thing too. Winston Churchill gave them a speech. Please, next slide. A speech about fighting on the beaches. We shall fight on beaches and not go back. Don't surrender. It reads, then the empire beyond the seas will carry on the battle. This little fragment of this speech uh, says that their empire that was beyond the seas because they had a lot of colonies. The land of the UK was almost as a quarter of the land of the entire world, so they were a pretty big uh, empire, let's say empire. Even though they feel subjugated and starving. So I think this is a shameless thing to say, but okay. What this speech did to the people was to ingrain in their minds that they were the great empire of the United Kingdom, and people nowadays still believe that. Also, in the 50s, there was a mass migration to the mainland of the UK because of the lack of workforce there due to the Second World War. So there's that. The ethnicity diversity, it's like the main pillars of their civilization, as well as their fake concept of a great empire. I think they just can't accept that times change, and they're no longer this great empire they were almost 100 years ago, 70 years ago, and they can be an homogeneous and sovereign society no more. They fail to see it, to see this. Uh, Next.
Okay, about consequences about Brexit, one of them was the euro fell by 2% to 1.11, and the pound fell too by 8%, 1.36. Both increased the value of the dollar. A weak pound also makes US exports to the UK more expensive, although that hasn't slowed exports. Other consequence, it's about jobs. For example, Germany is projected to have a labor shortage of 3 million skilled workers by 2030. But those jobs won't be really available to the UK's workers after Brexit. Jason?
Okay, to sum up, we can conclude that immigration and some policies are the main cause of the Brexit, because the internal workforce of the country feel treated by the outside workforce. One of the main reason is that they charge a cheaper salary than the regular one, and also some of the policies does not benefit England at all. For example, the agricultural ones does not benefit the country, keeping in mind that England gives almost 50% of the internal Europe Union PIB. So they decided to retract all these agreements and start a new internal policy. There are also some political issues like uh, the conflict between England and Brussels, which is the capital of the European Union. That's like a big summary of this Brexit situation. Thank you so much for your time, and goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.